The Roman Empire, one of the most powerful civilizations in history, was forged through countless battles and military campaigns. From the forests of Germania to the plains of North Africa, the Romans faced enemies on all fronts. Their legions marched across continents, leaving an indelible mark on the ancient world. Today, we're diving into some of the largest and most significant battles that shaped the course of Roman history. We'll explore the clash of empires, the brilliance and brutality of ancient warfare, and the moments that defined the destiny of Rome. In the heart of the Second Punic War, Hannibal Barca, the military prodigy from Carthage, had already marched his army, complete with elephants, across the Alps, a feat that shocked the Roman world. Hannibal aimed to strike at the heart of the Roman Republic, and at Cannae, in 216 BC, he found his opportunity.
The Roman army that marched out to meet me was massive, perhaps the largest they had ever fielded. Confidence was high, their previous encounters with me having given them a false sense of security. But I was a master strategist, and I had a plan.
Hannibal arrayed his forces in a crescent formation, deliberately making his center thin and weak. The Romans, seeing what they thought was an opportunity, pressed their attack into the Carthaginian center. This was exactly what Hannibal wanted. As the Romans pressed their attack, the Carthaginian lines bent but did not break. Hannibal's cavalry, superior in both numbers and skill, routed their Roman counterparts on the flanks, and then the trap was sprung. The Carthaginian flanks swung inward, enveloping the Roman legions.
The Roman army, once so confident, was now surrounded, packed so tightly that many couldn't even raise their weapons. What followed was a massacre. Tens of thousands of Romans, including the consul Lucius Aemilius Paulus, were cut down.
In the heart of Gaul, Vercingetorix, a charismatic chieftain of the Arverni tribe, had united the fractious Gallic tribes against the seemingly invincible Roman legions. His rebellion threatened to break Rome's hold on Gaul and challenged the very notion of Roman supremacy.
Leading the Roman forces was I, Julius Caesar, a general of unmatched ambition and military genius. I had already conquered vast swathes of Gaul, but Vercingetorix's rebellion represented a new and dangerous challenge. Our paths converged on the hilltop fortress of Alesia, where Vercingetorix and his warriors made their stand.
Caesar, a master of siege warfare, ordered his engineers to construct a massive system of fortifications around Alesia, encircling the Gallic stronghold with walls, ditches, and watchtowers. The Romans were cutting off Vercingetorix from any hope of relief or escape. Alesia was to be both a fortress and a trap. Trapped within their fortress, the Gauls fought with the ferocity and desperation of cornered wolves.
Vercingetorix, a charismatic and inspiring leader, rallied his troops, urging them to fight for their freedom and their homeland. But we Romans were relentless. Our legions, disciplined and brutally efficient, held the siege lines against repeated Gallic attacks.
As the siege wore on, both sides faced dwindling supplies and mounting casualties. Vercingetorix, realizing the desperate nature of their situation, sent messengers to rally the Gallic tribes to his aid. A massive Gallic relief force, estimated to be twice the size of Caesar's army, arrived to break the siege. The Roman Republic, for centuries, a beacon of power and stability, was tearing itself apart. In the aftermath of Julius Caesar's assassination, power was up for grabs, and two men stood poised to seize it: Mark Antony, Caesar's loyal lieutenant, and Octavian, Caesar's adopted son. Their rivalry, fueled by ambition and a thirst for vengeance, plunged the Republic into a bitter civil war. Antony, allied with the Egyptian queen Cleopatra, controlled the wealthy eastern provinces. Octavian, backed by the Roman Senate and the legions of the West, was determined to crush his rival and claim sole power. The final showdown took place in 31 BC off the coast of Greece, at a place called Actium. The Battle of Actium was not just a clash of armies, it was a clash of ideologies, a battle for the soul of Rome.
The fleets assembled at Actium were a sight to behold. Hundreds of warships, their decks crowded with soldiers and oarsmen, maneuvered for position, the air thick with tension and anticipation. The fate of the Roman world, the destiny of millions, rested on the outcome of this single battle.
As the sun beat down on the choppy waters of the Ionian Sea, the fleets clashed. The air was filled with the roar of battle, the crash of wood against wood, the screams of the dying. Roman fought Roman, friend against friend, neighbor against neighbor. Their loyalties divided, their destinies intertwined. Mark Antony, a seasoned soldier, but perhaps outmatched in this particular type of warfare, commanded his fleet from the deck of his flagship, the Antonia. Octavian, younger and less experienced, relied on the tactical brilliance of his admiral, Marcus Agrippa. Agrippa, a skilled tactician, recognized the importance of maneuverability in the confined waters. He ordered his lighter, more agile ships to harass the flanks of Antony's fleet, disrupting their formations and wearing them down.
As the battle raged, I, watching from afar with my own fleet, made a fateful decision. Perhaps fearing for my own safety, perhaps sensing the tide turning against Antony, I ordered my ships to break through the Roman lines and flee back to Egypt.
The Roman Empire, under the rule of Augustus Caesar, seemed unstoppable. Its legions had marched from the British Isles to the borders of Persia, imposing Roman law and order upon a vast and diverse empire. But in the dense, unforgiving forests of Germania, a storm was brewing, a storm that would shake the foundations of Roman power.
In the year 9 AD, a Roman army, 3 legions strong, led by the experienced but perhaps overconfident Publius Quintilius Varus, marched into the Teutoburg Forest. They were on a routine mission to consolidate Roman control over the recently conquered Germanic tribes. But what seemed like a routine operation would soon descend into a nightmare.
Leading the Germanic resistance was Arminius, a chieftain of the Cherusci tribe. Arminius was no ordinary barbarian warlord. He had been trained in Roman military tactics, knew the strengths and weaknesses of the Roman legions, and harbored a deep-seated hatred for his former Roman masters. Arminius used his knowledge of Roman tactics and his understanding of the treacherous terrain to lure Varus and his legions into a trap.
The Teutoburg Forest, with its dense undergrowth, limited visibility, and unpredictable terrain, was the perfect place for an ambush. As the Roman column snaked its way through the forest, Arminius and his warriors struck. The Germanic warriors, armed with swords, spears, and axes, swarmed out of the forest, attacking the Roman flanks, their ferocity amplified by their knowledge of the terrain and their burning desire for revenge.
The year is 66 AD. The Roman Empire faces a rebellion in Judea. The Jewish people rise up against Rome. The stage is set for the siege of Jerusalem.
The seeds of rebellion had been sown for decades. Religious tensions simmered between the Jewish population and their Roman overlords. The imposition of Roman taxes and suppression of Jewish practices created resentment. The rebellion began with uprisings across Judea. Jewish rebels attacked Roman garrisons and seized control of key cities.
The Roman Empire initially underestimated the Jewish revolt. Emperor Nero dispatched General Vespasian to crush the rebellion. Vespasian arrived in Judea with a massive army.
The Jewish rebels prepared for a desperate defense. Jerusalem became the focal point of the rebellion. Its ancient walls and the unwavering faith of its defenders stood as symbols of resistance. The Roman siege of Jerusalem began in 70 AD. Titus encircled the city, cutting off all supply lines.
Jerusalem braced for the inevitable Roman assault. Conditions within the city deteriorated rapidly. Food and water became scarce, and disease spread like wildfire.
By the early 4th century AD, the Roman Empire was fracturing from within. Civil war, economic instability, and barbarian incursions weakened the empire. Emperor Diocletian's tetrarchy divided the empire into 4 zones. This system sowed further conflict. In 312 AD, Constantine clashed with Maxentius for control of the Western Empire. Their rivalry culminated in a decisive battle. Constantine marched from Gaul to confront Maxentius in Italy. They met at the Milvian Bridge, a vital crossing over the Tiber River. Constantine experienced a vision of a radiant cross. The cross bore the inscription, "In this sign you shall conquer." Inspired, Constantine's soldiers adorned their shields with the Chi Rho symbol. The Battle of the Milvian Bridge was chaotic and bloody. These battles represent just a few of the many conflicts that shaped the Roman Empire. Each battle had profound consequences, influencing not only the fate of Rome, but also the course of history itself. From legendary victories to devastating defeats, the legacy of Rome's military might continue to captivate and inspire us to this day. The Roman Empire, at its height, spanned 3 continents, encompassing a population of over 50 million people. Its legions marched across Europe, Africa, and Asia, leaving an indelible mark on the ancient world. The Roman legal system, its architectural achievements, its language, and its literature continue to influence us today. But even the mightiest of empires crumble. Weakened by internal strife, economic decline, and relentless barbarian invasions, The Roman Empire finally succumbed in 476 AD, when the last Roman emperor in the West, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by a Germanic general. The fall of Rome marked the end of an era and the beginning of the Middle Ages. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all our historical explorations. Thanks for watching and see you next time.